Okay, we're still in July. Book 120 was an audiobook, This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno. I thought it was an interesting concept. It was about it starts off as a widower who's grieving his wife. And as the story goes on, you find out that maybe their home speaker device is possessed and may have caused, some problems. And it's a good general concept. The whole him handling the grief thing is interesting, but then the book just gets kind of odd to me and kind of takes off on a weird tangent that I didn't like. So I ended up giving it a 2. Some people I know like it. For me, it was Book 121 is The One by John Mars. And in this book, to me, it's kind of like Tinder on AI. You can take a DNA test and it matches you with the perfect one. And so the book follows, I think, 5 or 6 people, and they're, dealing with interaction with the one. And I think it was clever. It went by each person's story. Like each chapter was a different person, and it kind of went on that way, which was fine with me. And it basically came out that, not every match is really what it seems to be. And, I think it was an interesting concept and an interesting way to go with the different characters. So I ended up giving it a 4. I would recommend it. Book 121 is the first book in a series by John Scalzi called The Collapsing Empire. I don't want to give away spoilers, but basically, interstellar travel is done via what's called the flow. And so it can get you between planets much faster than light speed. And so the human race has populated all these planets that are very far from each other, and they use the flow to get there. And this empire has set up a bunch of interdependencies on each other. So there's monopolies, and there's kind of like dukes and rulers, and there's one main ruler called the Emperix, and there's a parliament that kind of helps this person rule. And in the course of the book, you find out that the flow is not stable, and there's a very, very high potential that these different planets are going to be isolated from everybody. I really appreciated the general dialogue that was written in this book. The characters seem very realistic, and they're not just the typical space science fiction dialogue. There's a lot of very blunt, very refreshing dialogue, which I appreciated quite a bit. So I look forward to the next 2 books.